And so there's one other person who's welcome here today, and that would be Rev Joy-anne. She returns to us today. Actually, she'd been working most of the week in preparation for this beautiful, magnificent moment, and doing many other things, as she always does. She returns to us from a well-deserved August holiday. So she had a restful time and is enthusiastic back with us. She starts a 4-talk September theme. Is it up there? Right. It's called, this is the theme, the bridge. I'm going to read it because it's fairly long. Well, it's about that big. It's called The Bridge Across Time, celebrating where you've been, where you are now, and where you are going. That's the theme, and she's going to explain exactly that. Today's talk is celebrating what was and what is. So let's give a rowdy welcome back to Rev Joy-anne.
Thank you. Not yet. I mean, I'm already back. Anyway, I am so happy to be back. I've had how many of you have had a staycation before? Anyone out there have a staycation? Where you just be, and it's so fabulous. So I am, mostly what happened to me is I became exceedingly grateful for this center, for this teaching that encompasses all paths, and for all that has been, all that is, and all that will be. I am so grateful. I had many mornings of a spiritual practice where tears of joy and gratitude were there, so I'm so grateful. So to begin today, though, I just wanted to acknowledge someone, not yet. I'd like to acknowledge all of the someones, I want to say, all of the someones, and we'll acknowledge him too. One of our great spiritual teachers of our century, of our time, has passed, and I wanted to mention him. But before I do, I wanted to thank all of our wonderful individuals here at the center that do so much. And I'd like to thank Reverend Ken and Reverend Pat, who were, while I was gone, holding up the fort, as my dad would say, holding up the fort while I was gone, and doing such a beautiful, beautiful job. So thank you so much, Reverend Pat and Reverend Ken. And to also Marie and to Diane, who's not here today. So many people, it takes a whole village to raise a child. It takes a whole village to have a center work, all of us together. And today I'm especially grateful for Rael, because he's running the whole system, and there's a little extra things we're doing, and he always does such a beautiful job. So let's give him some love. Thank you very much. So now, if you would put on.
No.
All right, so this is Dr. Wayne Dyer. How many of you have heard of Dr. Wayne Dyer? Most of you, if you haven't, my favorite book he wrote is called The Power of Intention. Very powerful. And he has a movie, a brand new movie that the kind of his last hurrah that he created. And I want to invite all of you to join me in watching this movie when I'm going to buy it. It's called The Shift, because we all know that shift happens, right? Shift happens. Depending on how it sounds, you might think, oh, okay. So anyway, he was from 1940 to 2015, and this is one of his quotes: "We are not our bodies, our possessions, our careers. We are, who we are is divine love, and that is infinite." That is infinite. So love him, and I know he's here. I invite him to come be with us today. I like to communicate with those on the other side. So we have quite a few people here. You may think there's just this little community, but we have a lot of beings, including Dr. Ernest Holmes and now Wayne Dyer. So thank you, Wayne, for being with us and all that he gave. And I'll invite you all to the movies with me. We have a movie screen in the other room. So this whole month, as so beautifully introduced, is the bridge across the infinite time. I call it, you can call it many things. So the bridge across forever, the bridge across time. And primarily what we're going to look at today on the first Sunday, and so I want you to start thinking about this, is we are going to be grateful for our past And what I mean by that is whatever brought you, think for a moment of what brought you or who brought you to your spiritual path. Now, some of you I know, maybe it has taken some of you 50 years. I'm not quite that old. I didn't see any lightning coming down just right now, so I'm good. And for some of us, maybe this is the first time you're here. This is your first introduction to looking at life in a new way and being grateful for what was. Now, some of you may look back on your past and say, well, what's there to be grateful for? You know, I had an experience of being bullied. I got fired from my job. I mean, all these things happened. But you would not be here today. And you would not be who you are now if it were not for every single thing that has happened to you. And so today, I'm going to give you a new perspective of us being grateful for all that has happened that brought us here, including our work, our relationships, our bodies. Some people have challenges with neighbors. Know anyone like that? So it's very important to acknowledge and bless and be grateful for all that has happened. And it can be the good, the bad, and the ugly, the blessings and the joyous juiciness of life. It can be for everything. When you are grateful, it literally brings the blessing out of that. It's so awesome. So today and this month, we're looking at the value of our past, the incredible nature of our now, and our amazing future, where we're going. It's all a blessing. And I never have forgotten what brought me to my spiritual path. I wanted to just very briefly tell you that. It had to do with my daughter. My daughter was born 30 years ago. And in that time, when she was born, when she came out, the doctor said she would never walk. And why? Because she had one foot kind of wrapped around the other one in the womb, and no wonder she never kicked me. I was wondering, you know, she didn't kick me too often. And so they said to me that she comes out, the doctor says, I'm sorry, your baby will never walk. Well, I didn't believe it. Not for a second. I said no to myself, no, that's not possible. And of course, all the events that led up to that, she is now, of course, she never had a problem. She never had a problem. She walked beautifully she started kicking me right away. Kick, kick, kick. She made up for lost time. But no, she has been a beautiful blessing in my life. And lives in Portland, Oregon now, and is as happy as can be, raised in this beautiful philosophy that I'm so grateful for. And so that is what caused me, though, to go in my spiritual journey. I had been, up until that point, raised in a very traditional religion. And, you know, to have the doctor, you know, tell you that, and he was also a member of the congregation, that your child, I mean, who died and left them in charge? I mean, really, every one of us is in charge of our own reality. You are in charge of what your thoughts are. And every thought you think and every word you say falls from you and becomes the clothes you wear. This is from Dr. Holmes. So think about that. Every single thought and every single word you say falls from your mouth and becomes the clothes you wear. I don't know about you, but I want to have comfortable clothes. I don't want to be in limitation, in pain, in suffering. And if you've had any of that in your life, this is an opportunity for you to decide it to be different. So that is really what this whole month is about being grateful for what was and to be creating in our now what it is that you would like to experience. So today is really about being grateful and putting our feet for that which caused us to put our feet on our spiritual path. So right now, I want you to think about that. What is it? How many years ago was it that you put your feet? What brought you here? Was it pain? Was it joy? What brought you into this teaching that I feel is the most amazing teaching? I am so grateful for this teaching that encompasses all blessings, and I'll tell you why. I just went to the hospital, not for myself, but one of my dance friends, her name is Beverly, little tiny thing, she must be about 80 years old, little tiny petite thing, got run over this week on the North Shore by a van. So the van runs over her legs, And the gentleman who did that heard screaming, and he didn't, anyway, he ran over her again and left the truck sitting on her legs. So I go to my dance on Friday night, and I'm told that little Beverly, her legs are crushed and she'll never walk again. And if you are a dancer like me, I love to dance, that's not a very happy, it's hard to dance in a wheelchair. So here she is. So I go immediately to the hospital the next day and visit with her, all the time knowing the truth, all the time saying, no, that is not the truth. The truth is that she is a spiritual being on a spiritual journey. And I know, I see her walking, I see her doing better. So I get to the hospital, and she shares with me that she is a Buddhist, which is great, because I know, we encompass all religions, so we did a prayer. She said, look, and she pulls up, and one leg was no problem, no damage at all. The other leg had a broken ankle. That is it. That is the extent of a van sitting on her. And her doctor came in, who is a visiting doctor. I guess I didn't know that doctors visit. They go to all these different hospitals. She's an internist, and she said, she told us, she is really lucky. I don't know what happened, but here's the van sitting on this tiny little petite woman, and all she had was a broken ankle. They said if it had been sitting on her anywhere else, she would be gone. And so it was amazing. I was just so divinely inspired by that. And by this teaching, to know the truth of someone and know that no matter what anyone says, that we are divine beings on this eternal journey. So I'm only going to share just two things with you today. The first one is to be grateful for our spiritual path and whatever brought you there. And the second one is to be grateful for what is now, And I wanted you this morning to make this a very personal experience. So take a moment right now. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to take yourself back in time, whatever event caused you to say to yourself, my life just isn't working right now. Maybe it was some pain. Maybe you are having trouble, you're having trouble in your work or in your personal life, with your family, with your neighbor. Something's going on that really caused you to begin to say to yourself, this isn't working for me right now. And to know within yourself that you want to change, that something needed to happen. And that is the divine inspiration, the divine cause, if you will, even if it's painful, the divine cause that caused you to get on this journey of your spiritual path. And see if you can remember what that was for you. And in that place of remembering, I'm going to invite you right now to be grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. For that is what brought me this experience with my daughter. The doctor saying she will never walk. That pain caused me to put my 2 feet on this spiritual journey, to be grateful for everything. So take a moment just to be grateful and listen to the beautiful words of this song. And allow yourself to be grateful for whatever got you here.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful.
And so in that place of gratitude, I am so grateful for whatever it is that brought me, for that thing, that experience, that person, place, or thing that brought me to this spiritual teaching, that put my 2 feet on the path of my spiritual awakening, where I discovered my spiritual magnificence. I am so grateful. And so it is. And the second thing I'd like to share with you, the last thing I'd like to share with you for today, really is about being grateful for what is now. How many of you, anyone here, having a challenge with something going on in your life right now? Anyone? Okay. So can you be grateful and bless that thing that is giving you a challenge? Because it's not a challenge. We're going to reframe it into an opportunity. It's an opportunity. What kind of opportunity? For you to prove the spiritual magnificence of your own being, of those you work with, of our world, of, as I turn on the TV and I see all of these refugees that are homeless, I was just stunned. Thousands and hundreds of thousands of people leaving their country. And I kept thinking, I can't imagine leaving my country. I mean, leaving everything? I mean, that's huge. So I have such compassion for that. What can we be grateful for? And I made an interesting observation about my own self, and that is that I've been on this journey with this particular teaching for about 30 years. Obviously, just when my daughter was born and had her experience. And I doubt that I am unique in that there might be some sort of thing, maybe a divorce, maybe some great event that happened that causes us, that kind of catapults us into a whole new realization. And to realize that we have the power, every one of us has the power in us to shift and change and make a difference in the world and makes a contribution just by being who you are, just by being you. And so what I found is that I traveled on my own journey of awakening. I would have a particular way of being. And what I would do, what I noticed, and see if this is true for you, I would notice that I was reactive. Something would happen and I would react. Something would happen and I would react. Anyone do that? And when you're reactive, you're not really coming from a place of being centered. You're not coming from your center core of your spirituality when you are reactive. So let me give you some words that describe that. You get really angry. Anyone angry? You get really depressed. Wow, one of everything. Let's see if we have this one. You get really sad. Okay, so you get all these sad, you get depressed, you get angry, you launch a couple missiles. Anyone launch any missiles or throw any grenades? Let's launch a missile. We're so angry, right? And so I noticed over the years, over this 30 years that I've been on this journey, I noticed that my reactions have changed. So instead of getting all of these reactions, right, angry or whatever, all of a sudden, as I look back, and this is what my staycation offered to me, as I look back on my life, I see an evolution. It doesn't mean that I know everything. It doesn't mean I've arrived, because it's an eternal journey. But my goodness, I am not the same person that I was 30 years ago. Just ask my ex-husband. I'm just saying. Who are you, he says. Why weren't you this 30? No, he didn't say that. No. So, yeah, oh well. See what you're missing now? How do you like me now? So, yeah, I noticed that I have changed and I'm not reactive. I'm more self-aware. I'm more prayerful. The first thing I do, if something happens, is I take it into prayer. That's the number one thing you can do. If you're having a reaction, if you're not happy where you live, if you're not happy in your job, say, hey, you have this whole conversation with the divine, with the creator, with the essence of your being. You have a conversation and you say, yo, God, or whatever name you call it, this is not working. So what can I do? What can I be? What can I say? How can I respond? Maybe you're going to be inspired to get a new job, to move out of the place you're in, to move above, beyond, and across wherever you are in order to shift things into a new place. And maybe not. Maybe you're asked to stay right where you are and be the difference, to be the hero. This is from Dr. Phil. Who knows Dr. Phil? To be the hero in that experience. You are called to be the change that you want to see, to be that. So when I became more evolved, I instantly forgot all about the old self until I started going on my staycation. When you unplug from everything, it took me about a week to unwind. Anyone ever unwind? About a week to unwind, and then I had 3 weeks to wind up again. And to really, just to really look at my life and see, wow, and to be so grateful. Here we are in Kamloops. Do you know what Kamloops, what I was told? When I was invited to come here and apply for a job here, one of our members, who's no longer here, said that this was a cow town. Do you know that Kamloops is a cow town? I wrote back and I said, great, I love cows. I don't eat them, but I love cows, they're cute. Right? They make moo. I mean, they make all kinds of nice sounds, and they, sometimes they smell a little bit, but that's okay. Don't we all? So I loved it. It was great. So I looked back and I thought, wow, I have really, had a wonderful transformation, and it continues. It never ends. And every one of us, we come onto this planet. I was going to use the metaphor of a salmon. If you haven't been to the salmon run this year, it's not too late. Please go. I went last year and was stunned at the beauty of all these salmon. Millions. They said there's millions of salmon. Once they were a tiny little egg that a salmon spawned. And look where, it went down to the ocean. It swam all the way back. Have you ever seen Lake Kamloops? And how big that lake is? They had to swim through there, and then they had to go through the Shuswap Lake, all of that to get up there. I was just amazed. So all of us, everyone in this room, we have been through a transformation. And it's only in those moments when we recognize it, when we look back and say, thank you for that, and thank you for my now, because I am completely different. When did I stop being so reactive? When did I stop being afraid? When did I start responding to life differently? I feel so much better about my life right now than I have ever been. I don't want to go back. If someone asked you, when do you want to go back? What age would you be? I say, no, I want to be right here. I wouldn't mind a 25-year-old body. No. But I love myself the way I am. It's fun. Dennis Merritt Jones said this in his book, The Art of Being. He said, give yourself the gift of a sacred moment in your now. With great and clear intention, contemplate and connect with the miracle of your life, where God is always present. Celebrate your unity and truly be in awe. The word awe, he said, comes from the root word awesome. And that is what you really are. You and I, we are awesome. Not because I said so, but because the divine is awesome. And we are made out of that which is the divine. And that makes us autumn. It's just a matter of awesome, I should say. Autumn, that's coming. A little too soon, I think. But autumn is awesome, too. And so it's really about taking a moment just to think about that. Where you've been and where you are now. So here is what I'm going to ask. Is there anyone here today that would like to share in 25 words or less one thing about themselves that they absolutely love and they know to be true? And we're all going to say, yes, you are. So we'll practice. So I am no longer reactive.
Yes.
Yes, you are. I now choose not to be reactive. How am I going to say that now in such a positive way? I choose to be centered and in my spiritual being in every moment. Okay, let's try that.
Yes.
Yes, you are. Okay, who wants to do one? Just stand up and do it if you want. Don't be shy. This is the time for you to be bold. None of you? Okay, you don't have to stand up. Okay, so when people make him angry, he laughs. Can we hear you laugh? Not right now. We have to make you angry first. Okay, let's say to him, yes, you are. All right, anyone else? See only goodness. Okay, he chooses to see only the goodness. Okay, let's say it. Yes, you are.
Courage.
You have courage. Yes, you are. Anyone else? You're growing.
Yes.
Yes, you are. Isn't that awesome? But there's something about when the community acknowledges you. So we're going to do something else right now. I'm going to ask you all to stand. This is audience participation. And I want this side to face that side. This side of the room, you're just going to face each other. So if you would stand and face the other side. Turn. There we go. And you're going to, in whatever way you want with your hands, you're going to send love and gratitude to the other people on the other side of the room. So you are sending love and gratitude. You have an attitude of gratitude. You are saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
And you are sending love and blessings to them. Okay, and then I want you to expand it to the whole room. Put your hands up like this. You're sending this love, this gratitude, and this love out to the whole room. And gratitude. Thank you. Fill this room with so much love, with so much love. There's a wall of love. We walk into that wall of love. Now send it out from this room to all of the world. You're sending it out to all of the world, to everyone in Canada, all across the globe, to those refugees who have no place to live, that they find a place to live. And you are filling this planet with so much love. It is energizing you. It is filling you up because you are the center of this love, and you are sending that love out. Right where you are, the divine is, and you're sending it out. Okay, very good. Okay, now give yourselves a standing ovation, and don't sit down yet. Okay, give yourselves a standing ovation. Woo! All right. Now I want you all to join hands, just across the aisle, and then we're going to close with this. Just join hands across the aisle. This is the last part of what you have to do today. Join hands. And I want you to close your eyes. And I'm going to read a tiny little poem that's called I Put My Hand in Yours. I put my hand in yours. And so just feeling that love that you are made out of love, and you are here to love. Loving yourself, loving all that brought you here, all that you went through to get your 2 feet on your spiritual path, blessing that, loving your now. I put my hand in yours, and together we can do what we could never do alone. We have each other. No longer is there a sense of hopelessness. No longer must we each depend on our own willpower. We are all together now, reaching out our hands, recognizing, realizing the divine in the person whose hands you hold. There is strength there greater than you can imagine. There is love there greater than you can imagine. And as we join our hands, we join our hearts, and we find love, and we find understanding beyond our wildest dreams. You are not alone, for you hold in your hands the divine, who is always with you, always in you, as you. And so in that place, just for a moment, let us close with this treatment, this prayer, this affirmative prayer. I recognize the one power and the one life that I call the divine, the creator. And I recognize that power in me as me. And I realize that power is in every single being on this planet, in this room. I see that and feel that in the hands that I hold. And I am so deeply grateful for this love, for these hands that I hold. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And I now simply release this treatment, knowing it is done. And we say together, and so it is. have a seat, and we're just going to play that song. Give each other a hug. If you all want a hug, we'll have a hug session here. Give yourself a hug. Some people don't hug, so give yourself a hug. I'm so grateful for everything. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my past, what put me. I'm grateful for life. Everything.
Gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, 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 so grateful, so I'm grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above